What if you couldn't stop dancing? Not for fun, but because some unstoppable force took over your body. Well, in the year 1518, this wasn't just a nightmare. It was a real-life plague.
No, I'm serious. Just think about that for a second. Not dancing at a party, but a truly agonizing, uncontrollable urge to dance. And dance until you literally collapsed. For hundreds of people back in 1518, this was their terrifying reality.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Our story begins in the city of Strasbourg during the sweltering summer of 1518. Now, this was a city on the absolute edge, gripped by famine, riddled with disease, and just crushed by poverty. The stage was set for something truly bizarre to happen.
It all started with just one woman. On July 14th, a Frau Trophäa walked out into the street and, with no music playing at all, just began to dance. And she didn't stop for nearly a week. Before long, others started joining her, and within a month, historical records claim as many as 400 people were caught in the exact same relentless, silent frenzy.
But I really need to be clear here. This was not a party. Eyewitnesses described an absolutely horrifying scene. People convulsing, their arms just flailing about. They danced on swollen, bleeding feet with these vacant, glassy eyes. They couldn't stop. They were literally trapped inside their own bodies. So, as you can imagine, the city's authorities were completely baffled. I mean, they were desperate. They knew they had to do something, but their solution? Well, it would turn out to be a catastrophic mistake.
They called in the local physicians who, using the medical theories of the time, offered a diagnosis. It was a natural disease, they said, caused by overheated blood. Their prescribed cure, though, was dangerously backward.
So what was their big idea? You're not going to believe this. They decided the afflicted had to dance the fever out. The city actually built large stages, they hired professional musicians, and even paid healthy dancers to join in, hoping to just burn the mania away. The plan backfired. Horribly. The music and the spectacle didn't cure anyone, it just pulled more and more people into the frenzy.
And the consequences were fatal. At the plague's peak, there were reports that as many as 15 people were dying each day from heart attacks, strokes, and just pure physical exhaustion. Now, historians do dispute the exact number, but there's no question this cure was absolutely deadly.
So what on earth was actually happening here? What could possibly cause hundreds of people to literally dance themselves to death? For centuries, that has been the central mystery.
The search for an explanation has really led down two main paths. Was it something they ate, or was it something they felt? A poison in their food, or a panic in their minds?
Okay, so one of the most popular scientific theories is ergot poisoning. Ergot is this toxic mold that grows on damp rye, which, was the main ingredient for bread back then. It can cause spasms and hallucinations, so it sounds plausible, right? But, and this is a big but, historian John Waller points out a major flaw. Ergot also restricts blood flow to your hands and feet, making it physically impossible to dance for days on end.
So if the cause wasn't a physical poison, that leaves us with a much stranger and, in some ways, a more unsettling possibility. The problem wasn't in their bread, it was in their heads. And this leads us to what is now the most widely accepted explanation, a phenomenon rooted not in biology, but deep in the human mind.
It's a phenomenon called mass psychogenic illness. You might know it by its older term, mass hysteria. This is basically where extreme psychological stress starts to show up as real physical symptoms. And the strangest part, it can be contagious, spreading through a community just like a virus, passed on by sight and suggestion alone.
So, was Strasbourg under extreme stress? Oh, absolutely. It was the definition of a perfect storm. The people were facing severe famine after terrible harvests. Devastating diseases like syphilis and smallpox were everywhere, and there was this deep, superstitious terror gripping the city. Many people believed in the curse of Saint Vitus, a saint who was said to punish sinners by forcing them to dance.
This quote from historian John Waller just captures the state of the city's collective mind perfectly. The people were trapped in an environment of unimaginable fear and desperation. The dancing wasn't a choice. It was a physical manifestation of their inner turmoil, a stress-induced trance that they just couldn't escape.
Now you might be thinking, okay, that's just a bizarre relic of a superstitious past. But this kind of psychic contagion is still very much with us. It's just evolved.
The idea of a psychic contagion spreading through a social network didn't end in the 16th century. No, the delivery method just got a massive upgrade.
Today, the vector for this spread is often social media. Just recently, doctors all over the world reported a sudden spike in young people developing severe, tic-like behaviors. The one common link? They had all been watching popular TikTok influencers who have Tourette's syndrome, and, crucially, they weren't faking it. Their brains were genuinely creating these symptoms in response to what they were seeing.
And this isn't a new thing, not at all. History is filled with these strange outbreaks. There were other dancing plagues in Europe. There was even a laughter epidemic in 1960s Tanzania that actually forced schools to shut down. It really seems our minds have always been wired for this kind of social contagion.
And all this leaves us with a pretty fascinating question. In 1518, the stress came from famine and fear of a vengeful saint. Today, our stress comes from social media pressure, political division, and just constant information overload. The sources of our anxiety have changed, but has the fundamental wiring of our brains? The dancing plague of 1518 isn't just some bizarre historical footnote. It's a chilling reminder that the line between a shared belief and a shared delusion can be terrifyingly thin.